We begin with new arrests overnight on the Virginia Tech campus as protests escalate at colleges and universities following a weekend of pro-Palestinian protests and counter demonstrations all across the country. Our Antonia Hilton is on the campus of Columbia University in New York, and Aaron Gilchrist is standing by at the White House for us. Antonia, what is the situation this morning? Are there any signs of de-escalation anytime soon?
Good morning, Anna. Well, we actually just got a new statement from the Columbia president, Minouche Shafik, saying that they have been unable to reach an agreement with students, that the school does not plan to divest from Israel, which was their central request from the students in the encampment. And they're asking students to voluntarily disperse. I have been texting and messaging with students this morning, and they are upset by this. They say they have no plans to simply walk away from the encampment that they've built. And that, in fact, many of them have been inspired seeing these encampments and similar protests spread all across the United States, from, of course, here in New York, Massachusetts, to Indiana, Tennessee, and all the way to California. For many students, they've taken this as a message of the strength of their movement and that they are clearly sending a message, not just to their respective administrations, but really all across the country now. We're seeing schools handle this very differently. In some cases, an immediate police presence, students who are facing disciplinary action or even court summonses. And then in some cases, like at Harvard, the Harvard University Police Department, their chief spoke with student reporters and told them that he actually thinks their encampment is completely peaceful, that they have their right to free speech and their right to be there, and that while he's separate from administrative action that might come to those students, he essentially signaled he has no plans to try to disband their movement. And so this is going to look different in the coming days when you look at different corners of the country. But the signs I'm seeing, Anna, show this is not going to slow down anytime soon.
And Antonia, we know that there are colleges handling this differently, as you point out, but how are the protesters handling this differently? There are 46 different colleges that have seen some kind of a demonstration. Are they very similar, or is there a disparity in how people who are protesting are handling things?
There's been a range. I mean, at times they look similar structures, right? Many of these kids have ordered simple tents online. They are creating libraries. They are doing programming and dancing at times in these encampments. And so in some ways they physically look very similar. But there's a range in terms of the size, the number of students. Some schools have not formed encampments, but instead they have protests, say, in the afternoons, or students have gone marching. Some schools have been very calm and they have locked their gates. And so there's a real separation between the local community and people who live in the city and the students. That's the case here at Columbia, where students are behind a gate. And usually when you see protests out on the street, those are local New Yorkers. But then there are other schools where people from all over the place have been able to get access to certain lawns and have joined parts of these movements. And it's been difficult at times for the school to tell the difference between real students and members of their community and maybe outside people who have come and gotten involved and at times even started fights on it. And so this looks very differently. And it's why it's so helpful that we have so many folks on the ground here at NBC at these schools right now who are able to get to the center of the story and talk to the people who are truly involved.
Absolutely. So, Aaron, not only is the White House now under growing pressure to respond to these protests, they're also impacting the president's commencement speech schedule. Walk us through it.
Yeah, the White House has been watching these protests around the country very closely, really from the outset. And the position that the White House has taken, we've heard it from the National Security Advisor, from the press secretary, other members of the administration as well, is that they encourage and support the idea of demonstrations that are peaceful. They want students in particular to feel as though their voices can be heard, that they can make their positions known in a public space, and that's good and okay. On the other side, the administration has said that it outright condemns any sort of violent demonstrations that pop up. As Antonia noted, many, if not most, of the demonstrations we've seen around the country on college campuses have been peaceful. There are some that have been otherwise, and the administration says that there's no room, there's no space for anti-Semitic commentary in these protests and these demonstrations, and that is something that it will condemn. At the same time, there's been criticism that the Department of Education, for example, has not taken more action through its Civil Rights Office to address some of the complaints that it's received since October 7th from, in particular, for example, Jewish students who've not felt safe on some of these college campuses, and there's a push for the administration to do more to respond to those complaints and to take action on college campuses. We know that President Biden is set to speak in May at two college commencements, only two college commencements, at Morehouse College in Atlanta and also at West Point, at the U.S. Army College at West Point. And the vice president is only speaking at one graduation at the Air Force Academy come next month as well. At least that's what's been announced to this point. And it speaks to the reality that these protests that are happening at colleges are something that the administration is aware of, and the president and vice president will likely have to face at least some level of demonstration in some of these commencement ceremonies coming up in the next several weeks, Anna.
All right, Aaron Gilchrist and Antonia Hilton, thank you both for your reporting.